This is the project profiles feature where I break down all types of projects, generally altcoins. I probably will do one on Bitcoin as well, to give you an idea of how I look into a project, why I might be interested in it, how I evaluate it, and how I track it. And also just to give you a bit of an overview of projects. So eventually, once there's a nice library of these, this is the first one, of course, but there'll be a huge library of them eventually, you'll be able to look back and have a nice breakdown on specific alts, which you can look back on in future. So this series serves two purposes. Purpose one is to show you how to research a project, at least the framework for it. You can obviously do your own thing. And secondly, it will give you education on the projects. So, first off, starting with Akash Network. The token is AKT. I'm going to break down what the project is, what sector it's in, what the narrative around it is, roadmap, tokenomics, chart, and then we'll get into some technicals around price and all of that. So, what is it? In a sentence, it's decentralized cloud computing. Akash Network allows users to rent compute resources. The best way I've been told to describe it and to understand it is as decentralized Amazon Web Services. Whether you know or not, basically every website on the internet is hosted by AWS. So that's the size and scale we're talking, but in a decentralized manner. You hear me talk a lot, and I shit a lot on crypto projects because they are trying to do shit that does not need a crypto token, does not need to be on a blockchain. However, this one does. One area of the market which definitely does benefit from decentralization would be hosting, cloud computing, right? Censorship resistance, that little old thing that might be of some use in the future with the way the world's going. So yeah, absolutely, it does that. And Akash does a lot more, as you will see throughout the course of this video. Narrative. So, everything in crypto revolves around narrative. I do not invest in a project unless it has a strong narrative and a strong community to get behind that narrative. There could not be a better narrative for AKT at the moment. It's 2023. I invested in it myself in May 2023. But I also traded and invested in it last cycle. So I've known of the project since February 2021. I've traded and invested in and out of it since then. And I've researched it, watched it grow. I've seen the team, I've seen the community. I know there's not a rug. It's a real project, real tech, real use case. All good. So, now they are directly involved with the AI hype cycle. Obviously, artificial intelligence is all the rage. You've got Nvidia in the stock market going crazy. You've got everyone freaking out about ChatGPT. And of course, you got a bunch of scam crypto projects that just slapped AI onto their name and are pumping 100x. One thing you want to know is the AI bubble is only just starting. It's just beginning to inflate. It has not had its parabolic blow off top yet. My opinion, that will happen when OpenAI go public. So if you want to keep an eye on the AI bubble, it all started with ChatGPT, right? I'm confident it ends when ChatGPT founder company, OpenAI, whenever they IPO. That'll be on the regular stock market, so keep an eye on it. And so until then, there's going to be multiple hype cycles within crypto and stocks for AI. It's the newest shiny object for investors. It's the new internet, right? Apparently it's better than the internet. Apparently it's going to put everyone out of work. It's going to revolutionize everything. So I don't think I need to convince anyone of the hype potential of AI. Huge. Clearly the biggest narrative we could have in 2023, 24, and 25. So it ticks that box. It's not a pump and dump scam. I've guaranteed this. I've done massive research on it. Literally can't be pump and dump scam with the nature of the tokenomics, how it's fully open sourced, how it's a blockchain, it's a network, right? It's not a project that's controlled by a few people. And in 2022, they launched a GPU testnet. So before this, 2021, when I first invested and I first traded it, it was more aligned to being able to host your website in a decentralized manner. Like I said, it was like decentralized AWS. And back then, that was cool. That was really interesting. However, the timing wasn't exactly right. There wasn't a really strong need for that. That was way before everyone started getting cancelled. Some people were getting cancelled. It was definitely relevant, but it was like before the craziness we have now. But since then, they've been able to pivot and add in this other narrative around GPUs. So GPUs are what are used, the chips that are used for AI, artificial intelligence, and ML, machine learning. Not going to get into technical on that. But understand, you know the company NVIDIA. NVIDIA make the GPUs that are used within some of them that are used within the Akash network by their community. And so obviously, you throw all that together, the decentralization, the hype cycle, the AI, machine learning, NVIDIA, you got Microsoft, Google, OpenAI, all of this feeds in with AKT. Why does it matter? Like the reason this is so potentially powerful is because they're decentralized. And their upcoming marketplace allows anyone to rent GPU processing power. So if you don't have a GPU, and by the way, they're probably the most scarce asset in the world at the moment. If you don't have one, well, in the centralized world, you're out of luck, right? Because if you can't buy one from NVIDIA, what are you going to do? And that goes for small companies as well as individual investors, or not even investors, tech-minded people, hobbyists, people who want to play around with AI, right? They need the nature of AI, of these mid-journeys and things like that, like very complex, high-quality graphics processing. It needs a lot of computing power. And that's what there's a massive shortage of, and that's what AKT solves. Or at least potentially solves. So if someone has a GPU with leftover power, they can now sell it in an open and decentralized marketplace. This is an insanely high network growth potential. One of the biggest things you need to have massive price increase on a token is network effects, adoption. Bitcoin had this, ETH had this. Every big project has had network effects. Even Doge. Network effects is, I buy something, I tell other people, they buy it, they tell other people, they buy it. That can spread just through a meme, through word of mouth, through memes online. That can spread through Bitcoin, through its actual use case, and its memes, and its community. That can spread through something like this, where people use it because there's a real use case. Also, people who are not in crypto at all, but have GPUs and have all this compute power, can actually sell the rest of it, so it's efficient. They make more money when they're not using it. If you imagine you only use your GPUs 10 hours a day at work, you can have it rented out the rest of the time. The chip shortages are real. So semiconductors, insane shortage of them, and they're getting worse. There was already a shortage. This is why the whole shit going on with Taiwan and why it's such a political problem with Taiwan and China is because Taiwan basically produce all the chips in the world. And everything we have runs on chips. Mobile phones, laptops, everything. Fucking cars now. That was before AI. Now with AI, you have all this extra demand for chips on top. So it was already a shortage. And then this happened. You can see how bad that is from this quick screenshot I got on Twitter. The access to NVIDIA's H100, which I think is their main, one of their flagship products, is sold out until 2024. AI startups are starting to worry they won't be able to acquire GPU capacity to serve their models. Akash directly fixes this. Right? Because if the actual NVIDIA GPUs are sold out, people can go and rent this compute space on the Akash network. And because it's open and decentralized, anyone can source from AKT. Right from me and you to tech giants, Microsoft, Google, etc. And that would be the 100 or even beyond 100x case for price appreciation. This is not some bullshit scam where they say, we've got an investment from Google. This would just actually be a Microsoft, a Google, an OpenAI, any large company using AI or machine learning. It would just be them going and using their Akash marketplace because they would need access to extra processing power. That's not beyond the realms of possibility. But that's like your moonshot bet. So the roadmap is over there. They don't have a clear roadmap in terms of in a picture format or a visual format. But you can check out those websites. You can check their blog. They talk about all the stuff they're doing. You can check GitHub, which is more for techie people. But because it's open source, they have literally everything they're doing all listed out in order. All the plans, all the upcoming projects, and all that. Tokenomics, obviously very important with any project. So if you're looking into a project, if you're creating a project profile, you have to look at the tokenomics. How many tokens are in supply? How many are left to be released? What VCs are involved, if any? When are they vesting? When are the tokens unlocking? All of that. Akash does have most of that available, but very, very soon, within the coming weeks, as I record this, they're going to release brand new Tokenomics 2.0. So, won't cover it on this part. I'll probably add on to this video later in the second part once that releases. Events to watch. So, as a trader, what you want to focus on? Narratives. The key tops and bottoms are usually around some type of news event. Now, we're looking at tops here because it's a price appreciation phase that we're in. They have a GPU mainnet and GPU marketplace. So that is their next stage of development. The GPU marketplace will be when what I mentioned before goes live. When you can literally go and rent compute space on the Akash network from anywhere over the world. They also have Tokenomics 2.0 coming up, another event to watch. And then the rest of the events, other things you want to see, that will update with time. Best way, as I said, is to get into those links. Get into their Telegram, into their community, and keep up to date on all the things that are releasing. But always for yourself, with any project you're looking at, always try and find a roadmap with clear dates. A lot of times they'll say Q4, Q3, right? Sometimes they'll just put them in order of what they're going to do. The thing I like about the Akash team is they're very much actual, builders. They're not hype merchants. So they don't really put clear deadlines on things. They don't say, we are going to release this on this date. Because quite often you see that in crypto. They're like, yeah, big announcement coming next Monday. Anytime projects announce an announcement and hype all that shit up, it's often shilling to try and dump on people. The Akash team, from what I've observed over 2 years, they just tend to build and work. Chart. So there's the chart on the screen as of 2023, August. Not too much to say. You all know how to trade. And if you don't know how to trade, my lessons teach you that. You all know how to do your own charting. I'm not really going to sit and give massive abstract price predictions. I've said before that when I invest in an altcoin, I only invest in it if it has 100x potential. Now that's invest. That's for something I'm going to hold for like 2 years, right? I might hold this for 6 months, might hold it for 2 years. I don't know. But it's a longer term play. Very rare I do this. Most of the time, if I buy an alt, I will buy it for a defined few months trade at most. A few weeks or a few months. Reason for that is because over time, over the course of history, it's been proven that altcoins tend to perform in small windows and then underperform. The exception, of course, would be something like when you catch a project like this that you've been watching for years, that's had a bear market, that's had a nice consolidation, and now it's breaking out and probably never goes back down to those bear market lows. But that's a rare occurrence. Before that, I view Akash a bit like Chainlink in 2019. That's what it reminds me of. And I'll explain why. So, in a bull market, you have to understand the cycle of money. the way it flows. It chases risk down the curve and gets more and more and more retarded the longer the bull market goes on. You all know this because it's always the complete dog shit that was pumping last. So our last hype cycles were based around worthless NFTs and meme coins. But not like Doge. It was like every single type of dog you could imagine. Dog shit, literally, pun intended. Tokens pumping at the very end. Bitcoin is well known to top out days or weeks or months before the rest of the market. Why is that? Same reason. It's the flow of capital, right? Bitcoin's the biggest, the best, the most established. Bitcoin's going to be around forever. And it's the safest. So the real tech runs first. And then the shit runs last. And it gradually gets more shit the deeper you go into a cycle. That's because more and more normies are coming in. More and more hype is coming. It turns into musical chairs. The whales are just trying to gather up any exit liquidity they can. Dump all the shit and get out. So Chainlink was famous in 2019 for having its crazy run, or having a crazy run early in the bull market. In fact, in the bear market, right? Exactly where we are right now. So if I look at that and we compare, not comparing the charts directly, although they do look similar, and in fact, I guess I will compare them directly. I look at Chainlink here. If I get both on a log scale, you can view on log scale over higher time frames. If you're viewing something over a number of years, better to use log scale. And so the similarities of these, I'll get the AKT chart with the most price history, which is Gate. Now it actually launched in 2020 and ran up, but that doesn't matter too much, too much. If you understand the 4-year cycle, 2017 is 2021, right? 2018 is 2022, 2019 is 2023. 4-year cycle, right? 4 years on. So 2017, Chainlink launched rather late in the cycle and ran up into the end of the hype cycle of 2018, right? From bottom to top on this run, Chainlink went 900%. Akash itself, which I'll have to go to CoinGecko to show, Akash itself launched in 2020, right? So getting late towards the bull run. Remember, Chainlink launched in 2017. Akash launched 2020. So they both launched kind of mid to late stage. And Akash ran from a low of 35 cents in October 2020 all the way up to a high of 7.30. So it basically went from 35 cents to $7. So from bottom to top, it had a 20x run. Link itself, in its first run, had from bottom to top 14 cents up to 145, 10x. Right, so they both had rather small initial hype runs, which is good. You don't want to, at least me, I don't want to see a project that has had 100x before, because that means it's ran through the hype cycle already. And such as Link, because Link went on later to do massive numbers, right? It was as low as 14 cents. It went as high as $51. Right? That's 500x almost. That's 400, 500x from bottom to top. The idea that I have is that AKT has a lot of that ahead of it. right? Doesn't mean it's going to go 350, 400, 500x. But there are some striking similarities between the two. We'll go back to the chart. We'll look at these. So it had its run up, but what's most similar about them is that they then had sell-offs down into the lows and through a bear market. So the bear market for Chainlink was all of 2018, right? And it broke out in July 2019. So Akash's bear market started, let's see, along with the rest of the market here. From January it trended down. From Akash, a little earlier it started, but 2022 trended all the way down into the lows, consolidated sideways, and then recovered. So if we look at this here, you can see very similar from their lows. Nice long consolidation, reaccumulation, following the typical bear market pattern. They bottom out, right? Chainlink bottomed out in June of 18. Akash bottomed out in June of 2022, went slightly lower on the FTX collapse. So again, very similar. Both had a very similar run up into their pre-halving year. So the Bitcoin pre-halving year, which is 2019, and 2023. Chainlink ran a little earlier, ran into the end of 2018. Akash ran at the start of 2023, excuse me. They then consolidated more consolidation, ran up, and broke out. So here they are now. In the Chainlink example, that was Chainlink's run. The bottom was never revisited. So it depends now, short term, on AKT. If it can run, in my opinion, from where I record currently, if it can run to $2.50 or $3, I don't think it ever sees that 60-cent level again. Right? I think it'll be a bit more like the Chainlink move, where it makes its run and just forms a new base. And then continues higher at whatever date. But what you want to understand is, it's the hype narrative and it's the hype coin now, and hype doesn't sustain forever. The time at which Chainlink was the real talked about coin in crypto was from April 2019 until June 2019. It was an 8-week hype cycle where it pulled a 10x, 12x to be exact. That was the hype cycle, right? But that was 8 weeks. And I'm not saying that's what Akash will do in numbers terms. But I'm saying hype-wise, narrative-wise, if this continued for another 4 or 5, 6 weeks, that would make sense. Whatever price it goes to, it goes to. But then it will cool off. And Link, for example, had a 70% drawdown, right? And then went sideways from June 19 until July 2020. Sideways in all of that range. It went sideways for over a year. But after that, it went from $4 to $52. And from all of this, from its breakout in the bear market, let's not even include any of this. Let's just imagine you're buying the breakouts of both, which is here. 75 cents on AKT to an unknown price above. And Chainlink. Chainlink broke out at 139 and ended up at 52. That alone was 35x, that part of it. The other thing is market cap. So you have to include tokens as well as price. And I looked at this and it was very, very interesting. In Chainlink's first hype cycle, it ran up to a market cap of 500 million. Then sold off as low as 60 million. And then went on its next crazy run. The next run, when it got the hype in 2019, it went to 1.3 billion. So it cracked the billion mark. And then it went sideways for a year, like we mentioned. Keep that in mind there. and we look at the market cap of Akash. In its first run, went to a market cap of 450 million. Remember, Chainlink went to 500? Very similar. Sold off into its bear market all the way down as low as 36. Hovered around 40, 50. Chainlink went as low as 60 mil. Is now running back up. $1 billion market cap is not outlandish for AKT. To me, it's a question of when, not if. And that's the thing. Timing these things is the hard part, which is why if you're investing in something, it's better to invest with a longer term time horizon. Don't try and trade these. Certainly don't overtrade them. Because what you end up doing is you end up pissing away your coins. You end up giving away your coins. And you end up with less coins or no coins or less money than you would have if you just held. Now, that's basically the overview. I'm not going to give an actual price prediction on AKT, but you've heard what I said. I believe I wouldn't have invested if I didn't think there was 100x potential from where I bought, which was 50 cents. So you can do the very simple maths. Doesn't mean I'll hold it to there. Doesn't mean it gets there. But what I do know is we're entering a new world, new hype cycle. It's all about AI. And the upside potential of the AI bubble is insane. It could be bigger than anything we've ever seen. And a lot of that will be fueled by disbelief. People said in 2021 we couldn't do it again. They said 2017 was crazy, biggest bubble ever, couldn't happen again. We did it. People are now saying it can't happen again. Interest rates, Federal Reserve, a recession, blah, blah, blah. Fuck all that. People are always going to want to gamble, speculate. And if you're in this game, why are you here if you don't believe that we can have another run? And if you do believe we can have another run, you have to understand that it can go way higher than you think. Because it went way lower than you thought last bear market when you didn't think Bitcoin could go to 15k. So don't be surprised. Now, if you're watching this and you're not in and you want to get in, first thing I would say is go do some research. Don't just watch my thing and say, oh, sounds great, I'm going to buy. You will not have any conviction if you do that. So go do some research first. But once you've done that, with me personally, what I would do is I would aim for it to follow the Chainlink playbook, which would be, if you see this. Now, it's important you see the good part if you're going to do this. Because if it does follow the Chainlink playbook, which I believe is really solid. Chainlink was legit breakthrough technology in crypto, price oracles, and it was implemented into almost every protocol, every DeFi protocol. So in the bear market, when people were looking to invest in something that was real, they invested in Chainlink. This bear market, they're looking to invest in something real. Akash is one of the realest projects out there, doing real things in the real world with a proper hype cycle around AI. So if it can follow that, it should probably go to $3 in the next few weeks. Let's say next 6 to 8 weeks after I record this in August. If it does. That would be if it follows the Chainlink playbook. If it did that, I would then look for it to retrace quite significantly from there. Let me just see this here. If it went to 3, I'd be looking to see it probably retrace back towards $1. And then spend quite a long time around that area, a bit like Link did, and then run at some other later stage. I don't know how long it's going to do that for, but if you're talking about when an entry, understand that from the top of the hype cycle, it can and probably will go down 60 to 70%. Link did it. Fucking almost every coin does it. Now the difference is, you might say, well, what if it tops out at 150? Do I wait for 60% down and then buy it? That's more risky and more tricky, because look where 60% down takes you from here. Let's say 70. 70% takes you back down into the bear market range. And the chart at that point would look terrible. And at that point, I would say something would have gone majorly wrong, and I would not invest in it. So it's very important that you keep your risk managed, you keep your targets clear, and you have to see what you want to see from the project for it to invest. That might mean watching as it goes higher and you're not invested. That's all part of being an investor or a trader. You have to have patience. You have to understand, if you don't want to buy into the big hype, green candles only, that's fine. Wait until people FOMO in. Allow it to fall back. This will take months. I just showed you how Chainlink went sideways for 11 months before doing the rest of its 50x run. So you have loads of time. Time is your friend, but time is what kills most traders. You can allow it, you can use it to be patient and to win, not to allow it to destroy you like most gamblers do. So that's it. That's project profile number 1 done on Akash. Hope you enjoyed it. See you on the next one.